Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Love Island Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps. My co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. I am so happy. We've got to the end. We've made it. And I'm so happy this is over. But of course, a little bit sad as well, because I don't get to speak to you every day. But more happy than sad, I think.
I think I'm the same, Dave. I've actually enjoyed us covering this. Obviously, our podcast hasn't even been going a year, has it? So we've had such a great experience with everyone tuning in, emailing, voicemails, Twitter. It's been fantastic. But we even said it, didn't we, as it started, will we get that fatigue? And I've not had the fatigue this time up until this maybe last 7 to 10 days. And it's just mainly because it's slowed down and we get the sales pitch bollocks, don't we, that we had. We mentioned it the other day. I mentioned it with Joe. I think it's finished at the right time. The only saving grace for us, Dave, is we're now trying to work out what we're going to do next. If at all we do a retro rewind on one of the series.
You're trying to figure out what we do next.
I'm just like,
yeah. Happy for the break.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to convince you what we're going to do next, Dave. But more importantly, let's talk about who won, Dave. Now, do you think that was the right result?
Well, I predicted it so I'm going to say yes. No, I don't. I tell you what, Chris, going the other way, I thought Jed and Chess going out fourth was a little bit strange. I don't know who's voting there, but, how kind of Justin Bieber and Demi got into that last three, I was a little bit puzzled by.
Could you just
explain?
Of course,
well, I would like to call out, because if we do have some crossover, which I don't really expect we do, but one of the other podcasts we were doing for a while was Chat Footy, and we used to get on there and talk about football. And Chris's predictions are legendary.
Not for the right things, though, are they?
Because they're mostly terrible. And you'd called Shanice and Luke T as the favourite. You think they'll win, but you'd quite like it for Jess and Chet to go, as the outsiders kind of thing. So, yeah, your predictions were shit again, really, weren't they?
Now, hang on. Let me just say, I was laughing, Dave, because it is actually Jess and Ched. I think you just called them Ched and Chess. And
I?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's been a long day.
I was trying to compute it, thinking, has he just called a chess and not chess? So even I'm getting it wrong. Yeah. But no, I think, my predictions are fucking woeful. But I did think Shanice and Luke T. Tell you what, though, Dave, I've got to say I did believe everything Finn said when he said I'd say it when I meant it. I mean, it'd be the ultimate gameplay if he did say it in the final as they're about to fucking win it. And he told her he loved her. And it was like, oh, right, okay. Maybe I was wrong when I said Luke T had done the business, and I even called Finn out. Perfect time to say you love her, Dave. Perfect time.
No, it was good, and again, it sort of got me that bit. So, proper lump in the throat. I mean, I'm sure we've discussed it before, but when you see like actors and stuff going up on the Oscars and then they're crying while they're delivering their speech, I'm just never convinced by it, because like if you're genuinely crying, you struggle to speak, don't you? And that for me from Finn was completely authentic, and we said it for a while now. He does seem very authentic, doesn't he? He seems genuine, and so but that got me that bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe it, but I also believe that the fucking stupid penguin suits they had on and all the other bollocks. It's just like. It's just like
a bit of dress up, don't you?
I know, but
6 weeks. They all love a bit of dress up.
It's just not real to life, is it? I believe that one thing I would say, as much as I don't believe any of them are going to last longer than the fucking plane journey home, is they genuinely believe when they're saying it that they're going to be in a relationship after this and where it's going to go. And the first thing Finn said when they won was, well, there's the deposit on a flight in Manchester. Well, if you go to Manchester City Centre, it's not London prices. He'll be able to get a nice little apartment, but it's certainly not 50 grand. He's not getting you the nicest of nice, Dave. Anyway, so
Have I missed something there? Because isn't he from Milton Keynes or something?
yeah, you know what? I was going to ask you that. That's what I was leading on to. You're right, because she's from Scotland. She's never mentioned Manchester, but he's from Milton. I was thinking, I don't remember there being any conversation. I know Mike lives in Manchester, and obviously we've got Callum and Molly, but I've never heard Paige once said she lives in Manchester.
And Natalia, maybe Callum was canvassing. You know, he's like, oh well, you should move down to Manchester. So it's sort of the middle, innit?
Yeah, you know what I would say, actually, being the old Love Island cynical, is ITV and the BBC are at Media City, right near where I work, Dave. And it reeks this, if that is true and they all live in Manchester, that probably one or two talent agencies have supplied him with some of their people on the books, if that's true.
It could be.
I think so. I think being someone who's been on the fringes of this and knowing how these sort of shit works, I would be utterly surprised if they're not together, because we got it with the Australian one, didn't we? We had that guy with a long fringe who was just like binned off. What's she called? He binned off that girl in the religious one. She was a churchgoer.
Oh, Cartier.
Cartier, and what's he called? The little fucking little guy.
Little tattoo.
Yeah. Fucking had like a weird fucking
Stop
Tony
making
Hadley
me remember all these people and fucking occupying my brain with this nonsense.
Somebody listening's going to be going, Chris, you dick. It's such a... I can't remember his fucking name, but he had a Tony Hadley fringe, didn't he, going on, and he binned her off, basically.
He had like a Lego...
Yeah, Lego head, didn't he? Action man.
Yeah.
You could just touch the back of his head and his eyes move, sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't the Cartier, but it was him and another girl who got kicked out.
Vanessa. I do remember that one.
Remember Vanessa? And they actually were a part of a media company where they were being represented, because there was videos of them in the Maytime. Well, the show didn't start till June, so it's obviously bullshit.
I'm sure it was Raven T that copied us in with one of those on Twitter.
Yeah, he did.
You can see them all chatting in the bar. It's like, hang about.
Yeah, it's all fucking nonsense. And I think that's happened before, because it's like Big Brother. As an example, I went to an original Big Brother audition in 2001. It was the second series. We went in Manchester. I did get kicked off, Dave, for sort of having a go at someone from a geographical place that maybe you came from, and the Manchester-Liverpool rivalry, and it got me kicked right off the auditions. But anyway, I'm definitely not going to tell that story. But I did sort of say something about where he was from, and he sort of kicked off with me, Dave. It looked great on camera, but I didn't get put through. But, however, all these people, and this is where I'm not like, I've been on TV and that I haven't. I've been a fucking extra and a lot of nonsense like that I've done, and I hate it because you get treated like shit, so I just can't do that. However, people come up to Manchester from London and they'll do 4 or 5, 6 auditions in one day, because... I mean, now, obviously, you've got Media City. It's a lot easier and accessible. It was always down in London for all these sort of TV shows. But they held auditions in Manchester. And there was a lad, in 2001, Brookside was still on. There was a lad next to me, and we were talking. He was a nice lad. He ended up on Brookside for the last, maybe year of the show. He was like a builder or something, but he was definitely on there. And I remember talking to him, and he said, oh, I've come up from wherever. He said, I do 4 or 5 different adverts in a day. He said, because they have to pay for your rail, which you do when you're doing this sort of thing, for your audition, because obviously the cash cow is thousands of pounds, you know what I mean? So the cynic in me would say this is exactly what is going on, and this is why I'm so skeptical of a lot of the relationships. If they're clever, as I've said, then you go for the OK Magazine deal, the fucking Loose Women, GMTV and all that stuff, or Good Morning Britain, it's in GMB, whatever it's called. I do all that to promote it, and that's how you make your money as well. But yeah, the skeptic in me says it's all fucking bullshit.
And we have come full circle, haven't we, from where we started this podcast? But what are you going to do, Chris? So if you said they're all going to be split up by the plane journey home, so in 6 months' time, what would you do if they're still together?
Well, I'm not eating my bollocks, Dave, which I said last time. I'm not making any wild, radical statements. What I would say is, I'll still be here for the whole fucking series, Dave. He's just convincing you to come along for the ride because I know it's bullshit. I know I take the piss out of it. And I know it's absolutely nonsense because you end up caring about these fake bullshit relationships more than you should. Hence why we do a podcast. But I fucking love it, Dave. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I guess you're a big wrestling fan as well, aren't you? So
Yeah.
it all makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not even saying what I was going to say, but yes, you're right, Dave. Yes, I like the make believe and the pretense of a story, I suppose, even though it's not real.
And I think there's some people upset, isn't there, about sort of Paige and Finn winning. I think a lot of people thought Shanice and Luke T would win. Now, what I'd have to say out of those last 4 people, I would say, and this is just my opinion, but it looks to me like Finn is pretty genuine. And I'd also say Shanice, although I find her a little bit annoying about how kind of she directs the conversation. She always wants to be the center, but she comes across as genuine as well. Still big question marks for me about Luke T and also Paige.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want to believe Paige. I want to believe that she's the ice queen who's been melted and she's there. But knowing that we've seen a lot of these things where she's been on basically every audition you can think of, I'm still not convinced completely. I really hope it works for them both. I think they look a cute couple. They look aesthetically great together. I just don't know whether the career side of it could get in the way. And we could be wrong, Dave. It might be fucking Finn turns into an absolute diva. We're all going, I'm going after Paige because of what we've seen. But Finn might think, oh, fuck that. I'm going to every nightclub and all that. And Joe made a great point on Friday's episode when she said, a lot of these guys are going to be going and they're going to be seeing girls after girl at these nightclub openings just throwing themselves at them.
They're going to call that.
She's right, Dave. She's absolutely right. They're going to be like a dog with 2 dicks, aren't they? These lads when they get out, they're literally going to be there at the opening of a fucking envelope, aren't they? If it means they're going to get some bit of action.
Yeah, I actually think. Yeah, I mean, I think Mike, not Mike. That was my next point.
No.
That was my next point. But I was actually going to say Luke M. I think Luke M will get out, and I think that was Joe's point, wasn't it? I don't see that him and Demi will last at all, and I think Luke M will fill his boots.
Yeah, I think he would, and we'll see, Dave. I know I've gone hard on the paint on Demi and that. I'm just not convinced by him as a relationship. Not necessarily all on one side and her side, just more from him because he's a lovely lad, and I think out of the whole series, him and Luke T. Their relationship's been great, and everyone said that. We've had emails saying like they should just couple up, and even alluded to it last night, didn't they? Saying like we should have got together because they're such good friends, and I really, really hope that their relationship lasts forever because they're great people. So I'd be interested. I just don't see anything in Luke M. He seems just too placid for me, and Demi, Dave, it could just be a nervous thing. She's obviously a clever girl. She's an archaeology university student, isn't she? She's got brains behind her, so it's not like there's nothing there between them. It might be just a case of she's too intellectual for him later down the line. You just don't know, do you?
It could be. Like I say, I mean, let's see how it goes. What I would say is, I think Demi did give me my favourite moment of the season.
The drink.
Which is the bit where she falls over and saves the drink.
It's the saving of the drink. She's done it loads of times. She just hits the deck, but she fucking holds it perfect as she rolls over. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I would say...
But the fact as well, so she could have made a massive drama about that, but she just laughed her head off at herself, and so, again, hats off to her for that.
No, and I'm with you. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was good that moment. And I think just on a slightly somber moment, Dave, I did think the pre-recorded message from Laura about Caroline and the lovely sort of montage they put together was really nice, to be fair. It just split the episode up and just give you a bit of thought there. I thought it was really nice what they put together.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think, it had to be pre-recorded, didn't it? Because, I mean, even getting through this last week with what's happened has been a little bit surreal for me,
Yeah.
because you're still watching it, and then you're thinking, Christ, what are they going to feel like when they come out of the show? Because when they'd gone for their auditions and everything, as far as they were concerned, it would have been Caroline Flack.
Yeah.
You
And,
know,
and
so
it's been exactly. Sorry, Dave. You're right. It's been an interesting week how the show's gone, and I don't think the show's going to get cancelled at all. It may just be that for the better, things change for the show, as in the way it's produced and the support that people get around it. I mean, fame in general. You're preparing somebody who's never been in the spotlight to all of a sudden just being completely gone from like 0 to 100, aren't they, straight away? And unfortunately, with any reality show, a bit like the podcast, what we do, Dave, you know, unless you watch it on catch up, yesterday's news. It's not a sustainable thing like a TV show, like a Coronation Street, or you're a movie star who's always in the subconscious.
But stuff like Big Brother, well, no, it's not on now, but that's been going for like, what, 20 years or something? There's loads of people who just become overnight celebrities, but don't have the issues that Love Island has. I just think, you know, when I look, particularly with the blokes, you know, how much time and preparation they put into going out for an evening. I just think when you've got the sort of person who is that obsessed about how they look, it's got to really cut you when you get out into the wide world, and then the media get their claws into you and maybe say things that aren't as flattering. That must be hard for anyone to take. So I think it's, you know, I remember. Do you remember Bubble from Big Brother 2? Do you think he's asked if someone calls him out? Maybe he's put a bit of weight on. Do you think he gives a shit? No. I don't think he would. So I think it's a combination of the instant fame and, you know, the type of people. Look, Chris, to go out for a night out, you know, in my heyday, probably bit of Lynx Africa. Call me air if you're lucky, and then you're off. So, you know, these guys, they've got the face masks on and everything. I think it is a combination of those two things, unfortunately. And you're right. I hope it's recognizing that they do get the support that they need.
I think you've hit on a very good point. Obviously, we're not trying to be too serious, but you know this and I know this, Dave. Looking at with the guys, the one thing I worry about with the guys is they're in a show. And I'm not saying it's not the same for the girls. I'm flipping it on the head at all. But the slightly difference is the only person out of all the boys who doesn't look like he takes any extra supplements is Luke M. Everyone else, maybe Luke T in that, but all the big guys in that, Dave, they ain't got that naturally, and that's the problem. When you have got that afterwards, after the show, you've got to sustain it, and you might do it and that you say exactly what you just said about putting weight on and stuff. It fucks with your head, Dave, doesn't it? Someone comments, "Oh, you put weight on." Even in a personal one-on-one, you're like, "Oh my God, right, fuck it, let's go. Let's get off the biscuits. I need to do an extra 5 minutes on the treadmill." When you're in the paper and someone's like, "Oh, look at them, they've let him go," and I hate what they did with Shauna. It was horrible that, you know, calling Shauna out about her looks and that. You don't need any of that shit. And it wasn't the papers; it was fucking trolls online. But that's, I think you're right. I think that being being a bit too serious for our last episode, that is a problem that they have to somehow manage, and hopefully they do down the line. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm sorry to go a bit serious there.
Yeah,
and that's the point.
I think, you know, this whole be kind movement, I hope that doesn't just fizzle out after a week or something. You know, I think, because forget Love Island, you know, they're we go on Twitter a lot, don't we, with our various shows and that. But it can be a pretty toxic place. You know, so I worry about my kids a little bit. That, you know, we never had to deal with this when we were kids. You know, and most people are pretty insecure anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, when you're at a young age, and then you go into this toxic place where people are throwing around all this venom. I just hope this be kind thing has a bit of momentum and does force a little bit of change for the better.
You say that, and I agree. I totally agree, and I worry about it, you know, for my family, my daughter and everything. But Caroline Flack obviously passed away, sadly, and the Be Kind movement coming. It was great, T-shirts, everything. What do you think happened then, Dave? They trolled her boyfriend. and blaming him. And it's like, you people don't understand what this is about. It's about keep your opinions to yourself. We don't know the facts. You start trolling someone else, you could have had someone there. So you're right. Everyone's going supporting Caroline Flack, which they quite rightly should be. But then the boyfriend gets a load of abuse. Well, we don't know what's happened. So it's.
I think it's. There's got to be an education part to this as well, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Because people maybe even don't realise the irony of what they're doing, because they went after him, blaming her for her death and everything, and I was going to say verbally abusing, textually abusing, whatever, and it's like, hang about, you're probably saying, oh, don't read the newspapers and that, but what you're doing is worse. So I think there is an education piece. We never actually meant to get serious on this show, but I think given everything that's happened, it's just how we're feeling it.
No, exactly.
We never script anything in this damn thing, so
we've gone.
It's just the way it's gone today.
Sorry guys, but no, I think it's just something we needed to say. I think, David, and also I want to just thank every single person that has tweeted us, retweeted, emailed, voicemailed. Honestly, we've had so much response this series. It's been phenomenal, hasn't it, Dave? We've gone to a different level with that, and I love the interactions we get off people, and please continue to do it, and let's hope we do catch the official Love Island podcast at some point. I love the fact we get emails through saying used to not affiliated, so you just say it how it is. I'm not saying we always get it right, but whatever we say, it's heart on the sleeve stuff, isn't it, Dave? We're completely honest, or how we think, and I might swear a bit more than you, Dave, because that's just the way I am, unfortunately. But I think it just makes for a great show, and I love doing it, and I love the fact that people love listening to me and you. We're just two mates having a chat over a TV show that I fucking love and you fucking hate, Dave, and that's the main problem.
I don't know. I think we flip-flopped. That's how we started, wasn't it? It was an interesting social experiment. But after about 3 or 4 episodes, that was it. I was all in. I downloaded the app. I was on After, well, not on After Sun. I was watching After Sun, the unseen bits, everything. I couldn't get enough of it. I have to say, how do you think this season rates compared to like the last season?
I think
just looking at the UK. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think. The last season, though, petered off, Dave. It petered off a bit earlier than this one. It petered off with about 2 weeks to go, to be honest. I know Greg came in and basically stole the victory at the end because of what had happened with Mike and Amber and stuff. I think this series has been about a 6 out of 10. At one point, it was an 8 out of 10. When we had that drama around about the middle to the 5th week, obviously it's run for like 8 weeks, I thought, oh, fucking great, here we go. It's going to kick off now. And it's just, it's been bitching and stuff, which is always nice to see, but it's not been peak Love Island. The peak Love Island for me is probably season 2 and 3, and the first series of that Australian one was fucking dynamite. That's probably my favourite series, actually, the first season of the Aussie one. It was fucking horrendous for kicking off, honestly.
Well, maybe I'm 5% interested in that retrospective idea. I think at the start of the call I was 0%, so yeah, let's see where that goes.
No, exactly. No, thank you, Dave, as well, for putting up with this for 8 weeks. It's been a great thing, both of us chatting and just talking about Love Island and watching it and that, so I really appreciate that. And again, as we always say, guys, if you've got anything to say about the last show or the series in general, and if you are listening to this months down the line, because we always get emails from people retrospectively who are listening to it on their on demand and they're after a podcast, then please contact us at Love Island Cast on Twitter, or email in the loveislandcast@gmail.com. And if you do get a chance, please drop us a review on your podcast app, and it just helps us grow and gets us out there to more people. So, Dave.
Chris, I didn't notice, and I think we've got an email actually, so that we need to read out, which I'll do in a second. I think it's only Apple Podcasts where you can do a review,
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, we get the statistics from all the different podcast catchers and whatever, Stitcher, Anchor, Podbean, all of those kind of things. But I think to actually put a rating on there, I think it's only Apple Podcasts. So, yeah, obviously, if you're listening through something else, you can't do that. But if you see someone else using Apple Podcasts, just wait till they nip to the toilet somewhere, subscribe us, write a quick review. We're not proud.
We are, Dave.
You might be. Speaking of which, Chris, I'm saying about that. I was looking at Love Island news just now, and it says you can already apply for next season. So if you're out there and you fancy it,
yeah, get in it. And also, Dave, if they're looking after, a 40-something, well, a lot greying, middle-aged man. He may not be in the best shape I used to be, but I'm making a comeback this year. I'm happy to get back lifting them heavyweights, Dave, and get in there. Obviously, there's a small matter of being married for 20-odd years, Dave. But, if you want to win 50 grand, no. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Okay, I could go in.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, they'd never let me in. I'd have to pound the weights for another 6 months at least, I think.
Imagine that, Dave.
I'd love it.
Why don't they do a middle-aged Love Island? You've got like people who are divorced and people, they're single or whatever, and you get in there and you've got like, we'll have a couple of them who will be fucking ripped up to fuck, well, and they're saying the vitamins or taking the vitamins and saying the prayers, as one of my heroes used to say, Hulk Hogan, and you'll get them, but then you'll get the normal bloke who likes to go and have 10 pints on a fucking Friday with his beer gut and stuff. Should just be normal people in there. That'd be great TV. And as they're older, they just simply won't give a fuck about offending people, will they? I can't imagine Dave from fucking Essex or something being asked about fucking offending somebody or dressing up in a fucking tuxedo at the end of the series, Dave. He'll have his fucking flip-flops on and a pair of Bermudas.
Again, just getting ready for a night out. I mentioned that whole the amount of time the blokes put into it, but can you imagine just getting in some big knuckle dragging builder or something? Just get splashes a bit of brute on. Right, I'm off.
Yeah. Look, be the lady tonight. Yeah, here we go.
Look out, ladies.
Saying that, I'm a bit like that. Sam will spend 2-3 hours getting ready and she'll go at like 6:45. We're going in 10 minutes, all right? I'm straight up. 5 minutes later, teeth done, deodorant, aftershave, I'm done, Dave. See you. Obviously, got to do the old hair. Got to get the quiz sorted. Well, I'm out then by 7. Easy.
Yeah. But we still wouldn't get in.
So thank you, Dave, for a fantastic series. Thank everyone again. Honestly, we both really appreciate it. And I think looking at it at the moment, the next series is the US one, which starts May the 21st. I have the date in my head. And I think the last series of the US one ran for a month, exactly 4 weeks. I've got a feeling this is going to run for 5 to 6 weeks. And then when that finishes, the UK one will start in July, Dave. So you better clear your diary, my friend. And I can't fucking wait. So I'll...
Now, the other thing, I think Raven T posted, Temptation Island Season 3 starts around June.
Oh, yes. Dave, you better get watching that, my friend.
Take a fucking sabbatical from work.
It's all good fun, Dave, all good fun. So, no, we'll see everybody, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye now.